Can you tell me a little bit more about how you feel and when you realize you're procrastinating a lot?
Yeah, I get like really anxious and I get frustrated with myself because like if I have all this time to do a paper or an assignment and then I find myself actually starting it like 3 days before, I just get angry and like upset because I'm like, why didn't I start it before? And stressed out.
So really a lot of stress.
Yeah, it's really stressful, and I feel like I'm not even myself for those couple of days. You know, I feel very like distant from my friends and family and boyfriend, and I don't like the way that I act. You know, I know that if I plan things out and actually stuck to those plans, I'd be able to feel a lot more balanced and less stressed.
You know, I heard you saying that you feel different when you're this stressed out because of your procrastinating. So I'd like to try something where for just a moment you can reflect on what it would look like if you were a person that didn't procrastinate, if you acted as if you weren't a procrastinator.
Well, like for example, I have an assignment due on Thursday. So for that, I would be able to start it ahead of time and just plan things out, you know, like give myself enough, like realistic expectations, not like, oh, I need to finish this now, or, but I'd be much less stressed if I had because I'm able to schedule things, but I don't always follow through. So I think if I wasn't procrastinating, I could definitely, you know, follow through with those plans, get what I expect to get done on time. I'd be able to spend time with people that I care about. I would be way less stressed. I'd be able to like enjoy things, you know, like give myself a reward, you know, like if I did this by the time limit, then I could watch a show or go hang out with some people and then get back to my work instead of like 2 days of just constant stress.
That's a great start. So now I'd like to work with you a little bit and just come up with a list of some of those behaviors. I know you mentioned a few, but some other behaviors that you would see if you were acting as if you were not a procrastinator.
I'd be able to just be myself.
Okay.
You know, and be more realistic, like I was saying, like not expect myself to spend an entire day working on this assignment and be done, you know, or have like my best work put forward, but yeah, and like treat myself and instead of just cramming and then being relieved after it's over. And much less stress, and I would just be happier. I know that I would be happier if I was able to do that.
So I know you talked about starting ahead and planning things out, but not necessarily following through on that plan.
Yeah.
So can you think of some ways that you might be able to follow through on a plan?
If I had something more specific, like do the presentation by this time at this date, and you know, and then start the paper, start research, and you know, not like, I think it would just be really important for me to be realistic about it. You know, because there's always difficulties, especially with research and all that stuff. It's hard to know what's going to happen. But yeah, just like be more structured and stick to those. I think if I had actual plans, I could do that.
So have things be a little more concrete. So you're working on a paper, you say like, I'm going to do the first page today.
Yeah.
Like not worry about anything else. Or
like,
just do the research today. Instead of maybe being overwhelmed by the whole paper, thinking about getting the whole thing done. Maybe smaller pieces.
Yeah, because when I procrastinate, then I have to do all of that.
Right.
You know, and just cram everything. But yeah, I think having those detailed schedules, that would definitely help, and like maybe even help me not feel so disappointed when I don't do that. because that is a big thing for me too. When I like schedule a day like on my planner, if I just say like work on culture paper and I don't, then I feel really disappointed with myself that I didn't do anything versus like giving myself a realistic expectation to get me into it and then feel like, oh, I did do this, you know?
Okay, so right now, I kind of made a list of some of these behaviors that we talked about, and we're going to try to rank them. Come up with some that are easier to do, and then the harder ones kind of like put at the end of our list. So, let's see. So more specific, we had a structured schedule of doing homework. Where do you think that would fit on the list? Like pretty easy, pretty difficult?
I think that'd be pretty easy.
Okay.
To at least do that. I think it would be a little difficult to like find realistic expectations for my schedule.
Okay.
But I think once I figure out, not like really push myself too far, but once I figure out what I can do, then that would be pretty easy.
Okay. And what if we start with maybe on those days giving yourself this hour, I'm going to work on this assignment, instead of just like today in general, a little more specific. How would you feel about something like that?
Yeah, I think that would be really helpful.
Okay. So the structured schedule goes with definitely planning things out, and that would take, I do think that would take a little more time because you're going to want to look at the assignment and how long is it, all of that.
Yeah, I think that might take a little more time. And also because like I have a lot of things that come up and and if a friend is like, oh, come hang out, and I haven't seen them in a while, then I want to go do that. But yeah, I think like having that schedule and that plan so that I don't get distracted by other things,
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, we also talked about just breaking things down into smaller pieces of homework. How do you feel like that would fit on like easy or difficult?
I think that'd be like in the middle, since it has to do with the scheduling.
Okay.
I think it would, I think that would be a little more difficult just because I would have to figure out what is too much and what's too little.
Yeah, so it's going to take more pre-planning. Okay, what about just the aspect of like planning out stuff like this ahead of time? Is that easier or more difficult?
I think that's the easy part.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know like what my time limit is and I know what I have to do. It's just actually doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, but like the plan, like I always write in my schedule, like do this is due then, but actually going through with it is what's difficult. So.
Okay. Well, I'm going to challenge you this week with a little bit of homework. Just with two of the things on the easy end of our scale, because I know that going through with it, like you said, is going to be a lot more difficult. But if we can build up those steps to make that easier to go through with it, then it should be a little more helpful for you. So this week, we're going to start with specifically like planning out what chunks you can do when, and then also a time during the day that you can do that. So even if you say 1 hour for this paper, so either one of those two things, but it's going to involve being more specific in planning.
Okay.
How does that sound to you?
That sounds good.